Hi, welcome to a new episode in the Internet Surfer, hosting the most horror and creepiest stories from Reddit. Please don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy.
What's your "no one will ever believe this" true story? Episode 3. When I was in college, I made friend with this cool rich party dude guy. We got pretty chummy. When the semester along with the exams ended, he invited me to his lounge. Straight out of dreams. Bowling, jacuzzi, pool table, etc. We were having fun. Then the rest of his rich friend dudes arrived and we also got chummy despite me being middle class. Then they talked about the girls coming and how many, and my friend said 3 for each. To simply put, we are going to get a hot foursome each. Things are about to get hot, the girls have arrived, and then I saw one of the girl and looked into her eyes and saw nothing but fear. Probably just me overthinking, but I think she got strung along with her alpha girl's friends, so I can't stomach it and just tell my friend that I'm not down for foursome, sorry and thanks for the party, and left. Yup. I turned down probably one of my only chance in life to have fun with pretty girls, and it's a foursome to boot out of stupid sense of being a gentleman. Still chummy with the guy though, good guy, he understands.
Honestly, my whole life consists of nothing but stories that sound like complete bullshit but true. Here's my most recent though. Back in 2017, my ex was diagnosed with cancer, and by the following year it became terminal, and our relationship was complete shit anyway. He was very emotionally and verbally abusive, and everyone knew it. We ended up having to move in with my parents, and they became so afraid of him they would conceal carry in the house due to the way he treated my kids and I. My husband threatened to kill my son, which wasn't his biological kid, and my kids reported it to the school. Social services got involved and gave me an ultimatum, and I chose my kids, of course. This was my escape considering I had begged my parents years prior to let the kids and I come home. My mother then proceeded to tell me that I needed to wait it out and collect his life insurance, and then worry about getting the kids back. I have no parents anymore as I am disowned and took my kids and moved out of state.
When I was 19, my grandma died at the age of 91 and left me an old 2-roomed apartment downtown my city. After a couple of weeks I decided to check it out. As soon as I get in I notice that it hasn't been cleaned in probably months because she was living with us and the concierge wasn't available for a long time. So I decided to just mess around because I was alone and bored, and grabbed a hammer and started smashing parts of the bathroom. I started with the sink, then the other parts, and when started smashing the bathtub I noticed that it has an unusual space inside of it. I started inspecting for seconds before I found this antique leather skin bag. I pulled it out and picked it up, and it was pretty heavy. I opened it and there was a decent amount of jewelries, 2x 24K golden necklaces and 5x golden rings and 2x emeralds. I couldn't believe it so much that I started biting them to see if they're real. I sold them plus the apartment and bought a house and a car. I told most of my friends what happened and a lot of them still won't believe me. I had this roommate who seemed normal but turned out to be completely insane. I had lived with her for about 2 weeks when I brought a guy over. They met briefly, then she went to bed, and we went to bed. She burst into my room at 5 in the morning and yelled his name, "You need to get out of my house." I wake up like, what it is? Go to her room to see what's going on and it smells like SHT. She turns on the light finally. My man had a broken ankle and was on crutches. But these crazy ladies' first thought was that he hobbled to her room. Didn't even look around or make any other judgments beforehand. Still blows my mind. In my 20s my sister and I lived in San Francisco. This was 2007 when you could still get an apartment for $1,600 in the nice part. Anyway, my sister is notoriously naive and trusting. I come home one day after work on a Friday and hear her talking to someone. It's a random girl standing in our living room. I say hello and she starts talking a mile a minute. She says she's moving in next door and locked herself out and is waiting for the landlord. The apartments next door are much fancier than ours. Like super updated, and they have private parking, etc. She says, "Brittany said I can borrow some clothes to go out with you guys tonight." I'm feeling like this person is off and I ask my sister to come with me to my room and I ask her, "WTAF is this?" She says she was napping with the window open. We were on the second floor, when a SHOE flies through the window. She looks down and this girl is yelling up to her and she buzzes her up. I tell her, hell no, you need to get rid of single white female before she kills us. She's clearly lying and just trying to find somewhere to stay. We tell her we have to go to the store, so we all go downstairs and I tell her we'll be right back with the car. We get in the car and leave her there. Never saw her again. Maybe we were idiots for leaving her, but her story made no sense and I got that creepy feeling you get when you know someone isn't being real with you and something is off. When I was around 7 or 8 years old, my family decided to go to a haunted house thing. It was at an amusement park and half of it was focused on little kids with trick or treating, face paint, kids rides, etc. The other half was focused on older haunted houses and had people walking around in costumes to scare you. My dad was going to take my older sister to the haunted house side, and my mom was taking me to the candy side. As soon as we walked in the gate after paying to get in, for some reason there was a clown at the entrance. He saw me and decided to hand up my night right off the bat. A little blonde 8-year-old girl. He was dressed and painted like a clown with a rainbow afro and had a chainsaw. He walked up to my family and ran the chainsaw literally right over my head. Being a child, I didn't know the chainsaw wasn't real, so I bolted. I ran and ended up losing a shoe because he ran after me. I ran into a fence and cowered and he laughed and ran the chainsaw again. Finally left. Then my mom forces me to go to the kid part to get candy. Because they already paid and my sister wanted to go to the haunted houses and I am ruining everything. That man followed me the entire night. I would be on a Ferris wheel and every single time it came down, he was standing there just staring at me and revving his chainsaw. He followed me getting candy and everything by hiding behind trees, next to bushes, etc. Thinking back to it now, he was the only one there because it was the kids section. No one stood up for me. My parents laughed. Workers laughed. When we met up with my dad and sister to leave, she laughed. Told me to stop being dumb and just wave to them. There was a werewolf coming up to me, so I said "Hi doggy." And waved like crazy lol. He waved back and walked away. But after that, I couldn't go to the circus. My ex-MIL had to take my son to the circus because I couldn't without having a panic attack. I couldn't go to birthday parties with clowns. Cannot even watch IT or anything that has a clown without having a full-on panic attack. All because one dude got a hard-on for terrorizing a little girl. I have a flat-screen TV in my bedroom. Have had it for years by this point and still have it in my room. One particular stressful day I sort of broke down in my room, quietly, for a while and my TV turned itself on at some point. Turning itself on has never happened before with this TV and I literally sleep a few feet away from it, but on older model TVs it has happened in the past, those square-shaped TVs before flat screens. I had to find the TV remote to turn it off. There's a button somewhere on the TV maybe, but I've personally never used it, and the remote was just sitting there by the TV. I can't tell you why or how it happened, but since I enjoy paranormal stuff so much, I like the idea it was something trying to comfort me. I was feeling really alone in life at the time, so in a way it sort of worked. When my mom and I were driving from Arizona to Vegas a few years ago, we accidentally stopped at a restaurant very close to a town where a very incestuous polygamist cult lived, and I most likely dined in the same room as a few of its members. For context, I'm biracial, and it's very noticeable due to my very curly hair, tan skin, and certain facial features. Apparently these people think that black people are the people through whom the devil has always been able to bring evil onto the earth. The whole time I was in that restaurant I felt like people were staring at me and treating me weird, and after we left, my mom, who is white, said she felt it too. The waitress mainly only acknowledged my mom and only looked at me when I was giving my order. She was also very faking nice, if you know what I mean. Like she was smiling and being polite, but there was just something off about it. I don't know if it was just my anxiety, but as we kept driving I felt like people who were walking out on the street were staring at our rental car for a bit too long. It wasn't anything special, we were driving a perfectly normal speed and we were struggling to find a good radio station, so we had no music blasting. It was actually an Askreddit thread I saw last year about the most dangerous places in America that made me realize that we were a short drive away from Colorado City, Arizona. Many followers of the cult's most popular leader, Warren Jeffs, a truly weird individual who is currently rotting in prison, still live in Colorado City and the surrounding area. A YouTube channel I watch called Fundy Fridays has a great in-depth video on Warren Jeffs if you're interested. Many babies who were born in this cult have a rare genetic condition called fumarase deficiency due to all the incest. In fact, Colorado City has the highest rate of babies born with this condition in the entire world. They also believed in child marriage, which is the reason why Warren Jeffs is behind bars. Anyways, that's my story. I've come across many racist individuals in my travels through America, but this encounter really irked me now that I know what at least a few of these people believed / were involved in. The rest of Arizona was beautiful though, especially Page. I loved that town, and Vegas was a blast. I'm going back to Arizona with some friends soon to stay at that Wild West town resort and see if we can get into the old Flintstones park. Now I just know not to drive too far north. I was at a small party in an apartment 30 floors up, and my friend was arguing with his girlfriend, I don't remember what, but some trivial teenage shit. Suddenly she screams at him, "I can't do this anymore," and runs to the balcony and jumps over the railing in a single leap. She drops down and disappears out of sight, into the darkness. Instantly the entire party is freaking out. This chick just killed herself. No one knows what to do. After a few minutes of everyone freaking, there is a knock on the door. It's his girlfriend. The momentum took her into someone else's balcony, and apart from sore legs she is unharmed. The apartment she landed in was empty, so she let herself out and came back to the party. They kept dating for a few years and had a lot more fights followed by a nasty breakup, but she's still alive to this day. When I was 13 I was chubby and sucked at skateboarding and went to a skate competition / punk show that some acquaintances were playing at. All these nuts skaters were super good, and then at the end they let one of the kids, probably the son of one of the competitors about 6 to 9 years old that could barely do much other than just ride go. It was a cute little wholesome thing and everyone cheered him on, but I was at just the right / wrong part of my development where I saw it as kind of goofy and decided to heckle him. Kept screaming, "You suck," and stuff until the rest of the audience had enough and screamed for me to shut up, as well as people only a few years older than me starting to get in my face about it and whatnot, rightfully so. I eventually let off and shut up and whatever. I normally wasn't like that at all, but I was just feeling evil that day or whatever. I still feel kind of bad for being an idiot like that, wish I could apologize to him. After the incident about 5 to 6 kids my age, maybe some older, cornered me and threw down a skateboard and asked if I can even do a kick flip for all the shit I was talking. At the time I could ride, barely ollie. If you asked me to ollie up a curb I'd probably have a 1/20th success rate, maybe landed one pop shut it in my life and never landed a kick flip. I landed my first kick flip under the pressure, it was insane. It was just a still kick flip, mind you, not moving or anything, but it was enough to make them believe I knew what I was doing, and they didn't test me further, and I felt like I had some kind of dark angel watching over me that day. I've still never landed a kick flip except on grass, even after improving in most other aspects as a much leaner, more athletic adult. To this day I have absolutely no idea what I saw. Coming home from girlfriend's house at about 2 a.m., driving out on the country roads. I had my dog with me, which for reference is a 95-pound fluffy Bernese mountain dog. Driving down a populated road but a farming area, so houses are kind of spread out. I came up on a mailbox and I saw this dark figure out of the corner of my eye running towards the car, and it was absolutely massive. It reminded me of Fong from Harry Potter. To my eyes it just looks completely dark with an eye glint from my headlights. I see it and I swear I have never made a noise like that in my life. I don't know what I let out, but I could not recreate it. My dog is a registered therapy dog and she was going crazy, and she absolutely never barks. My car should have hit whatever object it was. My eyes tracked it right into the front wheel well, but I felt nothing. Drove in silence the rest of the way home with absolutely no idea what I saw, definitely still no idea, but just thinking about it makes the hairs on my neck raise. A little over 20 years ago I was at a concert in Detroit with an old girlfriend of mine. When we were leaving, some D-bag tried to rob us. The unbelievable part was, well, we weren't moving fast enough for the dude because he pulled the trigger on the gun he had. All we heard was nothing. The D-bag booked. I made sure my girlfriend was okay and I chased him down and beat the shit out of him. When the cops eventually got there and I was talking to one of them, it turned out that the only reason nothing happened was that the gun he was using was notoriously unreliable and often had problems with the firing pin not releasing. Just blind goddamn luck. My friend got his first car, which was a Ford F-150 step-side, and his dad is a car guy with a nice car lift and huge tool set in his garage. Well, they always take apart their new cars to grease everything up and check for function and to clean. Well, he took the passenger side door panel button panel out, and underneath was a brown envelope full of brand new 20s that totaled up to about $5,000, I believe, just a tad more than he had paid for the truck. The truck had 2 gas tanks. I suspected it may have been used by drug smugglers at some point and may have been seized and then resold later. I was there for the whole thing, or I wouldn't have believed it myself, from the time the truck pulled into the house to the time they found the money. Funny thing is, I saw a bit of the envelope sticking out and thought it was part of the liner of the door panel, like older cars used to have, like 5 minutes before my friend started messing with the door. He had just removed the button panel and was about to take the door panel off the rest of the way. It was crazy. I played lacrosse in college, and one travel day we stopped at a rest station for some food. I was waiting outside of the restaurant for my team when a huge Chinese tour bus pulled up. About 25 Chinese women poured out and started surrounding me, asking to shake my hand, take photos with me, and telling me of their travels from China to the US. This went on for a solid 5 minutes until my teammates began to notice from the windows of the restaurant. Apparently, they thought I was Britney Spears. I do have blonde hair, but I really do not look anything like her. Of course, I posed for the pictures and played it off as I had to get back to my tour bus. Nobody other than my teammates who witnessed believes me. Most recent was having this man who threatened to kill himself if he lost everything. That night he did exactly that in the parking lot. I can't go much into detail, otherwise a quick Google search and the reason of death would give away way too much on where this happened and who. Had another who sat and played a 3-card poker game for hours. This old man never took a piss break while drinking coffee all day. The jackpot was around $22,000. He asked his buddy to play a couple hands while he went to the bathroom. So he sat down. I reminded him he couldn't play his friend's chips, but feel free to cash in and he can play while his friend was using the bathroom. I shit you not. First hand, he nails the jackpot. His friend comes back, and can't believe it. What does this guy do? Tips me, the dealer, $500, says thank you to his friend who was using the bathroom, and takes his chips. Didn't even hive his friend $1. Got to run to work, feel free to ask me anything casino related. I was using a server that the FBI raided about 20 years ago. People have literally not believed me when telling the story. When I was in high school, my friend and I learned programming and found some obscure site that offered entirely free Linux server time. Really just some guy's hobby. I chatted online with the server owner once or twice. One day when shed in, the server disconnected and didn't come back. A week later there was a notice up on the site trying to collect donations for a legal defense against wire fraud charges, and the reason the server was down was because the FBI had raided him and confiscated all of his servers. I had no way to confirm it wasn't so bizarre troll/scam, so it could have been that, but most likely I was actively using a server that went down because the FBI unplugged it on a raid. My buddy and I were scared that it was going to come back on us, e.g. that the guy let people have free access to falsify server logs or something, but nothing came out from there. I work for an armored truck company. We carry firearms while doing our job. At the end of the day we unload our weapons and turn them in. We have a metal snail that we use to stick our gun inside while unloading so that in case of a misfire, the bullet goes into the snail and doesn't do any damage to anyone or anything. One day I was unloading my gun and I didn't use the snail, and for some ungodly reason, my finger just pulled the trigger. Next thing I knew there was a loud bang and my ears rang for a good 10 minutes. When the gun fired, the bullet went into the wall right next to the snail. The hole is still there to this day. I should have been fired after that incident, but my supervisors fought against my termination and said we needed proper training because we just switched to new weapons. So basically, I got to keep my job due to a technicality. I live in the Northeast where paranormal stories are the norm. Many historical spots around us, as many of the buildings date back to the American Revolution era. Anyways, my friends and I would walk into the woods and get lost for something to do. There were trails and sometimes it was just us trudging through stickers, bushes and stuff. We've stumbled on old stone foundations of houses back to in those woods. It's pretty wild. Well, one time we were woods exploring, and I decided I was going back for whatever reason I don't know. I think I was around 10 or 11 at the time. Well, I come out at this new building was that being built maybe 50 meters from the road, so I'm almost out of the woods. I think it was someone's commercial garage. Something like that. I see this lady holding a baby and she's walking around the building knocking on it. I'm walking past and she asks if anyone is in there. The weird part is they both look cut up. Like cuts and stuff on them. Me being super young, I'm a bit creeped out. I tell her I don't know and keep walking. As an adult I think about this from time to time. It's so incredibly weird. Did I imagine it? There's an old church maybe 75 meters from that same spot. Me and my two friends would go there and look at the tombstones. Some as old as the 1700s. We said to each other, wouldn't it be weird if we knocked on the church window and heard something back? We did just that. And next thing you know, boom boom boom. We took off running. Best of my knowledge no one was there as the church was locked. It's a very small building too, so I don't think anyone would be there. Very strange occurrences very close to each other in proximity. I don't tell many people about the lady and baby. That one still creeps me out. When I was about 10 years old, my buddy and I used to play one-on-one football in my front yard. At one point, he kicked the ball off to me, and I was by myself at the end of the yard, probably at least 25 yards away from him. I caught the ball, took 2 steps, and something punched me in the eye, hard enough to knock me down. It felt like a fist. I got up and was completely dazed. My friend came running over and asked what happened, because he was nowhere near me. I also had swelling under my eye. I went inside the house and grabbed some ice. When my parents asked what happened, I said, I got hurt playing football, because saying, an invisible hand punched me in the face, wouldn't have gone over well. I still think about this a lot. Struck by lightning while riding a bike in a field. We're 15 and had just finished fishing for the afternoon with a friend. It was going to rain in the next hour or so, so we decided to ride our bikes to the gas station that had a Subway down the road and get a bite to eat, lived way out in the country. Before we did that, there was a large field next to the gas station we could do little jumps on some small dirt piles and ditches. The storm was rolling in, so we started riding towards the gas station, and next thing I know I'm 20 sideways from my bike standing up. My buddy was a bit behind me and he had thrown his bike down and was running towards me. He said I had been struck by lightning. Some people from the gas station were looking our way but went back to their business. We grabbed our bikes and went to the gas station, told a few people we knew, but no one believed us. When I was 10 to 11, my 10-11M friend, 10M, and I were wrestling in my basement like the little cramps we were. He was beating me and I got angry and had what I like to call a Hulk moment. I threw him to the ground and he didn't get up. I told him to stop faking and he said he wasn't. His mom came and got him and they went to the hospital. Lo and behold, I had broken his collarbone. We are still friends to this day. I'm 15 now and so is he. He moved away a little while ago, but I still play video games with him. As a side note, I love when people are talking about bones they have broken and someone asks me if I have broken a bone and I get to say, I have, but it wasn't mine. My "no one will ever believe this happened" story has got to be the time me and my ex-girlfriend were getting violently high in my bedroom. We both had the day off and wanted to spend time with each other, so we went out and got ice cream, cookies, and sodas. We got comfortable around 9 p.m. and started smoking our hearts away around 11 p.m. //2300 hours. I decided to turn over and try to sleep while she was watching TikTok. I turned back over to ask her something and it was then 5 a.m. She was watching the same video I had left her on, and I don't think either of us got any sleep that night. It felt like mere seconds. So I'm pretty sure we went through a time warp. I had 2 dreams that told the future. They were very small future reading though. The first one was when it was getting close to my birthday. My dad had ordered this game I really wanted, but he ordered it kind of late so it wouldn't be there by my birthday. Then one night I had a dream. The entire dream was just an image of the game spinning in an empty room. I woke up saying a date and time. That date and time I said just happened to be the day it came and what time it was delivered. When I first said them, I knew what they meant, and so I ran around the house excited because my game would be coming like 2 days before my birthday, not a week after like what Amazon predicted. I told my dad this and about my dream and he didn't believe me. Sure enough, the package is dropped off at the time I said it would, 2 days before my birthday. The second time my dream showed me the future was about my teacher at school. My teacher had been absent for about a month at the time, so my class was constantly having substitutes or being divided into other teachers' classrooms at the time. Well, one night I had a dream that I was walking down the hallway and I saw my teacher there. I woke up that morning knowing that I'd see the teacher that day. Yup, I get to school, the teacher is there, for the first time in about a month, wearing the exact same outfit I saw her wearing in my dream. Both of these incidents happened within the same year, when I was in 7th grade. I used to think I was developing superpowers and that maybe I could learn how to have future vision dreams on command. I still think about that concept sometimes, to be honest. I had 2 dreams that predicted the future within the same year. One told me the exact date and time a package I really wanted would come, which was like a week before Amazon said it would arrive. The other told me that my teacher, who had been absent for about a month, would be present the next day I went to school.
Thanks for watching. Please comment, like, share and subscribe. The Internet Surfer on YouTube for more horror and scary stories.